Alright, so I just finished watching the Tearsmith movie on Netflix, and as you guys may know, I just finished the book a few days ago. So this video is going to be talking about the book and the movie. So if you do not want spoilers, you're gonna go ahead and scroll along because this video is not for you. So I'm gonna start off by saying I'm pretty disappointed in the movie because I just feel like it lacks the emotion, especially the emotional connection of Regal and Nika. And there's just a lot of things wrong with it. And the movie said Regal. It said Regal in the movie. So I'm going to try and pronounce it that way, but you're probably going to hear me pronounce his name like 3 different ways because I kept doing that all throughout when I was reading because I was never sure of the correct pronunciation. But, so to begin with, I absolutely hate that they did not give Nika her white eyes. So in the book, they're always talking about Nika's gray eyes and how she's the light and how Regal has his black eyes. He's the darkness. They did give Regal his black eyes, or at least they're super like dark brown. They look black, and he always has this like hair in his like face. You can't really tell. But they gave Nika a super light green eye, which I can appreciate, being a green-eyed girly myself. But it just takes away from them, and I don't like it. Another thing I don't like is that when Nika comes to the orphanage, she's 8 years old compared to 5. And the reason I don't like that is because if you go through trauma at 5, you're going to react differently than if you go through trauma at 8. Because when you're 5, you're super innocent, you don't know anything, you're more impressionable. Your mind can be molded better at 5 than it can at 8. And I don't feel like the movie encaptured her trauma and abuse because it did start at 8 and it didn't tell all the story either. Obviously it can't because it's a movie, and I know that and I recognize that, but I don't like that. Another thing that really made me mad is the matron that abused them was still at the orphanage when they got adopted. So in the book, the matron gets reported, and she ends up fleeing the country, like disappears off the face of the earth. And it's not until later, whenever they're in their late teens, almost adulthoods, that some of them are coming forward and wanting to sue her for what she did to them. And in the movie, she's still at the orphanage whenever they're adopted. She, Adeline is still at the orphanage, which did not happen in the book. Adeline got to move to a different orphanage in the book. And, she did not allow Anna and Norman to see Regal in the hospital. And the hospital thing is a whole other thing that makes me mad that I'll talk about later. She was there at the trial, which obviously she was in the book too. But she was just in the movie too much. And they changed her whole storyline, and I do not like it because, again, it takes away from their trauma. I don't appreciate it. Another thing that I did not appreciate was that they talked about Alan, who is Anna and Norman's son, way too soon. Anna and Norman didn't really talk about Alan until like Nika kind of like asked about him, and they were just pretty truthful with him right off the bat. And Asia or Asia, I'm not sure how that's pronounced either. I said Asia when I was reading it, and the movie it said Asia, whatever. She was always rude to Nika in the book and in the movie, but it happened like in the book, she was more like going about it in a roundabout way. She wouldn't come right out and say why she hated Nika. But in the book, she just came right out and said, "You're replacing Alan, and I fucking hate you." Like, I didn't really like that, and how they brought Alan in, and it kind of, I don't know, it just changed that story, and I didn't really like that either. A little thing that bothered me was that Regal calls her Little Moth to like intimidate her, and in the movie he just called her Moth, and for some reason I felt like that kind of took away from how small that Nika felt inside herself, because she was 17, but inside she was still that 5-year-old girl. So I feel like it took away from her, like, innocence by not saying little moth. And speaking of Nika just not being as innocent, the movie did not capture Nika's innocence. Like, she truly was like a child inside. She has such a pure heart, always wanting to help everyone. And the book just kind of made it sound like she was just kind of like timid and quirky, like not just like this passionate person. I don't like that. Sorry, I'm saying like a lot of things I don't like. I did like a few things. Like, I like how they had the band-aids on her fingers, which she had throughout. I like that Regal still played the piano to get adopted with her because he couldn't be away from her. They still had Regal's eyes. I love that there was butterflies. Fuck. Okay, it did. Sorry. My 20% battery thing came on. I thought it was going to end my video and it pissed me off, but it didn't. So, sorry I'm just randomly scrolling fuck in the middle of my video. But, in her room in the movie, there was butterflies over the wall, and I thought that was really fitting for Nika, because her name is a butterfly. And I like that Regal still gave her the black rose for Valentine's Day, and that he didn't rip it up in the movie, which I kind of appreciate him not ripping up. But him not ripping it up, that's another thing. In the book, Nika is so scared of Regal in the beginning before she realizes the truth. And you don't really get that. Like, the movie makes it look like it's just sexual tension the entire time, and that was not it. Like, Nika was terrified. Like, shaking, trembling, like, didn't want to be near him. I didn't get that at all in the movie. Lionel was really played down. Like, Lionel was obsessed with Nika, and they went on, like, several little outings, and, they didn't really show Lionel too much other than to like make some things happen, but I don't know. I just don't feel like they did Lionel justice either. And instead of Lionel's party happening, they had like a school dance, and the school dance, like Rigel and Nika are like, I don't know if they have sex in the school or if they're just making out, but that did not happen in the book, so that was different. They super downplayed Rigel passing out and Nika taking care of him and her realizations happening. Like, they super downplayed it, and if you hadn't read the books, then you probably would not have known what was happening in that scene, because it was really confusing what was happening. Another thing that was different was Mickey and Billy, they end up having a fight in the book, and they like blow up and do not talk to each other for days. In the movie, they have their argument, but it didn't blow up. It didn't show how they were fighting. It didn't really show Billy and Mickey the rest of the movie after that fight, which is super weird because they're like an integral part of Nika and her story. And I don't know. I just think it's pretty obvious that I do not like the movie, and this is one movie I am pretty disappointed in. I will say, I am not the person that hates all movies that are based off books, because I understand that movies cannot capture it all. But when it comes to this one, I think it was a flop. So if you've read the book and watched the movie, let me know your thoughts, because I was honestly pretty disappointed. Anyways, have a good rest of your day, guys.